Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back another video, and so today what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to be reviewing it's a little different here. It is the Justice League versus the Teen Titans movie. It was a 2016 movie. Recently watched it, and I want to talk about it. I want to review it actually. Well, I want to fully review it, but I mean. So this is quite interesting because it's I'm planning on watching more of these some of these DC movies. Some of them I didn't even know were around because they just went straight to DVD and Blu-ray. And they didn't air on Cartoon Network. They didn't go to the movies. They didn't go to the movie theaters. So it really kind of sucks. I don't understand why they don't just show them on Cartoon Network anymore like they used to in the old days. I feel like Cartoon Network get more ratings if they show this stuff. I mean, they own it, so Warner Brothers owns Cartoon Network. DC is made by Warner Brothers. Why don't they show it? Anyways, so Justice League versus Teen Titans, and as usual. It's called Justice League versus Teen Titans, even though it really wasn't a versus fight. I mean, there was maybe 2 minutes of screen time of them actually fighting. I mean, I was like, no. My whole thing with that is, unless it's the main point of the plot, why is it Justice League versus Teen Titans? So this is a different universe from the 2003 Teen Titans. It's not the same universe, and because of that, they have different voice actors for the characters. I believe the Justice League has different voice actors too than the normal voice acting pool. Like Batman from the Batman the Animated Series, he doesn't voice this one. It's a different Batman. Voice, but still kind of overall is kind of close to what they normally go for Batman. But the Teen Titans, again, different. Cyborg's actually in the Justice League for the, because again, I'm gonna go on a limb here that this is the New 52 universe, or it's based on that universe, based on everything that happens. Wonder Woman likes Superman, loves Superman, which I hate that shit, by the way. I'm all for Batman and Wonder Woman all the way, not this whole, doing the animated series continuity. That's what Zack Snyder was going for in the Justice League. If you remember that Batman v Superman scene, it was clearly what they were going for. They've even confirmed it. So. That's kind of why I wish that would have happened. That's the thing from the designers era that I wish could have happened. But anyways, getting to this movie. So again, different voices. I believe they had Blue Beetle. He was on the Teen Titans. I think he was in Young Justice. I wasn't a fan of Young Justice, so it's whatever. But So, with this movie, it's a little different because this movie is PG-13, like I said, 2016 film, or animated film, and it was a film, they used a lot of more, kind of more adult-like terms. They used hell, they used Satan, they used a lot of different things. That you wouldn't see in a typical, Teen Titans series or stuff like that. They kind of explored more. I mean, this movie was more about the new Robin, which is the younger Robin. Dick Robin is actually Nightwing in this movie, who is the actual leader of the Teen Titans in 2003 series. So that's kind of where they're going with this. So there's a new Robin that, the Robin that takes over the Robin thing, he's the Robin in this one. So, by the way, I am also very disappointed that Nightwing does not do that much in this film. He I think made like 3 appearances, and they weren't really that major. Um, but so yeah, let's kind of get to the start of this film. So the start of this film is basically it starts out with the Justice League, and they're fighting. They're fighting all these different villains. They've got Lex Luthor makes an appearance, who's also voiced by Steve Bloom. Kind of that kind of surprised me, but I was like, oh, cool, it's Steve Bloom, Steve Bloom as Lex Luthor. I kind of recognized that right away, by the way. Yeah, so Superman, don't like him, but whatever. He obviously he beats the crap out of Luthor. They kind of had their little old shtick, as we all know. Um, uh, Batman, Flash. I believe it's Barry Allen Flash. I'm not sure though. Um, because I'm assuming because it's the new 52 continuity. Wonder Woman. They're fighting off they're basically fighting these villains, and they basically take him out. And the one villain that's taken out, he's handcuffed and tries to get away, and Trigon Spirit like goes in to him, and basically takes over his body, and so he's basically reging chaos. Meanwhile, the new Robin, he's basically on the sidelines. This younger Robin, he's on the sidelines, and he does not like the orders that Batman gives him. So what he decides to do is he decides to take the bat, plane, and basically rams it right into him, and basically saves everybody. And after it's done, Batman gets pissed at him, and he said he shouldn't have done that. Superman tries to compliment him, and Batman says, "No, don't do that." He's like, "Oh." So even though Robin saved the day, he still gets discredited, and because of this, he says, I should, have a more better part on this team, and he's like, no, you don't. And so they basically sent off the new Robin to Titan's Tower, which is where he meets up with the Teen Titans, which again consists of Beast Boy, Raven, a much younger Raven, might I add, than the one you would see in the 2003, or I think maybe around the same age, because she definitely has more younger characteristics than some of the other characters, like Cyborg or Starfire. Starfire is much older in this than she is in the original Teen Titans. She's a much older Starfire. Same thing with like Nightwing, who actually is the one who sends the new Robin to the Teen Titans. It's basically a much older Robin, like that, or not that Robin. I mean the old Robin, which is Nightwing. He sends him there. He's older. Assuming that he was, I'm assuming in this universe he was in the Teen Titans before, because just the way how he talks to Starfire, it feels like that. And they also still kind of have a romantic thing going on. It seems like, based on the way they talked when he sent over the new Robin. Starfire is the leader, which again just proves, like she's the oldest. I mean, she's the leader because I'm assuming she's the oldest. Raven is much newer in this. He was not around for the beginning of this, I guess, because that's how it's set up. Same thing with Beast Boy and the new character for this, which is Blue Beetle, who's in this. Which, again, as a Teen Titans fan, from the original series, I'm just like, why the frig is this guy in the show? Like, he doesn't belong here. Yeah, no, get out. Like, I was like thinking that throughout the whole movie. Like, what is this guy doing here? Like, he does not belong here. Like, get out of here. like, like, um, Beast Boy looks a lot different. He's got more muscle tone in, his characteristic compared to his original part, which is kind of weird. All the voice actors for the Teen Titans are different from the original Teen Titans, which I do not like. I understand this is a different universe, and I know how DC and Marvel, they kind of try to change people's voices per different universes and all that stuff. I don't. They're still the same character. They're still the same character, and that's how I look at it. And I feel like the character should be the same. Like, if this was anime, like, they would still keep the voices the same, or at least try to, unless the person was retired or unfortunately passed away. Even if it was a different universe, they always try to get their original voice to do it back. In most cases, not for every anime company, but most do. I feel like they should have done that here, but of course, with DC, it's different than it is for an anime setup. But that's how I feel like they should do it. But some were okay. Ravens, I didn't really like, and I'm not trying to discredit the voice actor here, but I didn't like the approach to the Raven voice, because Raven, it felt more, I always felt Raven was more of the moody, mysterious type character, because obviously that's what she is. She always wants to keep to herself and stuff like that, and I never really got that from this voice. I felt it was more of a tough pitched voice, which I just didn't think fit Raven that well. Because she was more of a moody type, mysterious, dark type character. And I always felt Tara Strong pulled that off very good. Which you don't really get that with, I don't know who the voice of this Raven was. Let me see if it says who it was. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, I don't know. Teamy. I'm not gonna even try to. Okay, but anyways, Raven's voice to me just didn't feel right. I don't know, and consider the fact that she was the focal point of the movie, because it was all centered around Raven. I feel like there should have been, much more to the character. Like I said, get Tara Strong to do the voice. Come on now. I mean, I know it's a different universe, but like I said, I feel like you should just keep the voices the same. Like, keep the voices the same. Don't break what doesn't need to be broken. That's what I gotta say about that. But yeah, so like I said, the voices, some were good, some were decent, and some were I just didn't feel like fit the character at all. But anyways, so the plot basically, when they go into this, they talk about, how, the new Robin, he doesn't belong there, and he feels like he's better than everyone else, and like, why does no one have like, an eye on everybody? I don't nobody know anything. Robin is basically, questioning, Starfire, and he's questioning everyone else, and everyone's getting pissed at him and whatnot. And eventually, he's like training like in the simulation, he's got the swords and stuff like that, and he's fighting like for over an hour, and they're getting pissed. So then eventually, he pisses off Blue Beetle, I believe his name is, and Blue Beetle basically decides to fight him, and eventually Robin pretty much wins. He pretty much wins the fight. He proves that he's like better than him, and then like right when he gets up, he basically, shoots this beam at Robin, and it basically disfaces Robin. It disfaces him, and so now his face is all screwed up, but pretty much could have died from it. And Starfire said, no, he's not dead, but he nearly died. And then Raven basically uh, heals him, and this basically, frees up his face and stuff like that. But while she's healing him, she sees visions of Robin, but also Robin then sees visions of Trigon and stuff like that. And so, like that, there's that. After this, you see Trigon's spirit basically taking over Superman's body while this is all going on. So, Superman, I guess, kind of turns evil. Not very surprising, because he always does. So he's possessed by Trigon. Basically, that was going on. Robin eventually questions Raven, on the stuff that he's seen and stuff, and what's going on. And Raven won't really tell her that much. They kind of got some type of interest going on with those two, by the way. There's basically this whole connection thing going on, and this leads to basically Robin trying to go into Starfire's room to try and basically find out stuff about Raven. Starfire catches him and shuts the computer off and and then Robin questions why don't you know anything about Raven? And he says the basics similarities. We know everything we need to know. And Robin's like, you should always know everything about everything. Never question anything. Should be no secrets, right? So there's that. Then there was basically the scene with the Justice League. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And then Superman is I should say Superman is with Wonder Woman, and they kind of have the little ship thing, which was kind of dumb. Superman eventually rejects it because he's being possessed by this freaking this Trigon character. He runs away. They actually show a scene too where Superman's banging his head on a freaking building. The building's practically about to get destroyed because of it. This big dent. So that's going on. But then they got the Teen Titans. Basically they're going to a carnival, I guess. Carnival, and there is the the new Robin brings a sword, and they basically say you have to leave that behind because we're not allowed to have that. So leave it in the car, they say. How much that ends up biting them in the butt. Basically, they play games. Robin easily wins a game, wins the bottle cap game. He gets this toy sword, right? And he gives it to a girl or whatever, and Raven's actually right there when it happens. So then Beast Boy is winning this dancing contest or whatever, and like he's beating everyone. He beat Blue Beetle for it. So then Robin basically says, "Oh, I can beat him in that." And he's like, "No, no, you wouldn't be able to." He's like, "I study fast." So eventually, when he starts, he's struggling with it, but then eventually gets the hang of it, and ultimately then beats Beast Boy in the game. Um, but so anyways, so anyways, they basically get to so basically he beats him in the dance contest, and then while the whole dance contest thing is going on, you have Raven going to Azra, or not Azra, god dang it, why did I just say that? You have have her going like, past, where, in like a force or whatever from, where the carnival's going on, and you basically have these Trigon minions, like, telling her what she has to do and stuff like that. And they're, I guess, her brother, not really, but they're just basically minions. And she basically says no, she refuses to help Trigon and whatnot. She refuses to do it. And all this stuff. And so, while this is going on, eventually the Titans come in and help beat up all these Trigon minions, and that's kind of where that is. Meanwhile, there's a scene with Batman and Cyborg where there's a funny pizza scene, and Batman's like, where do you put all this pizza at since you don't have a stomach? And Cyborg says you don't want to know. Kind of getting into more of the serious type stuff. They were basically trying to find out what happened with this whole Trigon mystery. Eventually, they end up, they confronted the possessed version of Superman, which that led to Wonder Woman being like, he's possessed, he's possessed. Don't go near him or whatever. And he actually told Wonder Woman to go to her own eye. He's like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. Superman, now possessed by Trigon, had mentioned that there was a girl that she was looking for, and so now they had to figure out what girl they were talking about. So they're obviously, we know it's Raven by this point. It's kind of pretty obvious. If you watch the original Teen Titans, you should pretty much already know this. That is the same direction they're going with. So then, after the beating all the Teen Titans did to them, this leads into the next scene where eventually they are confronted by the Justice League the next day. They are confronted by the Justice League, to capture Raven. Because Raven, obviously is what Trigon's looking for, and they figure that out. And they were like, no, they need to stay. She needs to stay with us. And he's like, this is not debatable now. She needs to come with us. They insist on it, and Raven is basically telling you, you gotta leave, it's a trap. And the trap basically is that they were basically going to kidnap, or they were going to basically possess all the rest of the Justice League. Trigon had already possessed Superman, and now he wanted to possess the rest of the Justice League. And so it was a trap, and they didn't buy it, unfortunately, and that was kind of unfortunate on their part, because then the rest of the Justice League got possessed. Except for Batman, who was smart enough to basically give himself a toxic poison that basically freed him from the Trigon's possession grip. However, unfortunately, because he did this to himself, this basically kept him out of commission for the remainder of the fight. Batman was pretty much out. Well, actually, he was out. He was out for the entire battle. He was out for the entire final battle, which kind of sucks because, I mean, he's freaking Batman. But yeah, that's kind of what happens to Batman in this. So, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, they're possessed now, and they now have to. The Titans have to fight them. Eventually, they are easily overpowered, and basically, Trigon tells them, if you don't stop, I'm gonna kill them. Basically, like, literally. I also should have I actually forgot to mention the scene where Raven actually talks about her origins and how she was, born and stuff like that. I should actually mention that too while we're at it. But that was mentioned, and it was a very cynical way. Now, if you watch the original 2000s Teen Titans, it was much more kind of generic. It was more of a generic version of the way they explained Raven's origins. In this movie, though, however, they really kind of take it to a whole new level. They kind of mention stuff that you would never have heard in the 2003 series, because, of course, this movie is PG-13. They can get away with it. But basically, they talk about how her mom was basically, a fool, and joined the cult, and basically did it with a person that she just met, and that's how Raven became to be. Which, to me, by the way, that's exactly how they said it. Even Beast Boy even says in the flashback, oh, that's how you did it? You did it that way? So, yeah. Not really kind of hiding that fact. So, yeah, there's a lot more to it than it was in the original Teen Titans storyline. But anyways, so the reigning Justice League is now possessed. You got them all possessed, and basically now they got to figure out what they're going to do, because now Raven is now with them. Now Raven eventually has to summon Trigon, which they eventually do, with the portal and stuff like that. Amazingly enough, Raven doesn't lose any of her powers when Trigon is summoned, which kind of surprised me, because in the original 2003 version, that's what happened. Obviously, this is a different version, but still, I thought that was kind of the same premise of what happens. But that's not what happens here. So, the new Robin, he basically has a plan on how to take out Superman, because Beast Boy's like, how is he going to do it? How are we going to take out Superman? And I was thinking to myself, well, just call up the hope of the universe himself, Goku, maybe, and then maybe he'll have something. But no, unfortunately, we can't do that. Anyways, so Beast Boy is like, how are we gonna take out Superman? And then, Robin just kind of smirks and was like, oh, he's got a plan. He's got a plan. So the new Robin has a plan. He uses. They eventually go into the portal. They jump right in right away, and he basically has like a kryptonite rock, but it's like kind of like a knife. Basically, it looks like a knife, and he just basically stabs Superman in the rib with it. He just stabs Superman in the rib with it, like really hard. He just like freaking stabs him so hard with it. And eventually the Azareth, or not Azareth, the friggin' Trigon spirit, like friggin' like goes out of Superman. Well, I actually also should say that Cyborg was freed too. So yeah, Cyborg was freed from the Trigon thing first before they actually went into the portal for where Raven was, for where they summoned Trigon too. So he was actually a part of the plan as well. So he was freed. Then basically what was left was Flash and Wonder Woman. Superman, after was freed, was basically then freed Flash by busting his leg or whatever, and he basically, Superman asked him how long it would take for him to heal. Flash said about an hour. Superman flat out then said to him, "You got 10 minutes." So he had to heal himself in 10 minutes. So then Superman then went after Wonder Woman. She somehow Superman got Wonder Woman's like lasso of truth rope, which I don't know when. I don't know if that was an error or something, but he got his rope. He got her rope, and he kept asking Trigon, "You have to tell me the truth. You have to tell me everything." And eventually, because of this, Trigon gives up and frees Diana from his clutches. So then Wonder Woman is free. So then they got to figure out how to take out Trigon, because now Trigon is walking around, and they don't know how to get rid of him. So then they go to where the gem started, which is hell, basically. And they have to basically, free the gem. Or, they have to put him back in the gem. Which the big glass actually breaks. Like, they actually break the big gem, which was the final scene, really, with Robin and his, father. Not really his father, just like a fake father, but kind of had the same personality. And he kept saying, I'd love to bring you back, but you can't do it this way. And he's like, no, you can be immortal and stuff like that. And he's like, no. And they freaking start fighting with swords. As Robin defending Raven. Eventually, he wins when the goblins or whatever pulls him away, and then Robin just cuts his head off. And then the goblins take the rest of him. So then from there, like I said, Trigon, Justice League are trying to take him out, and to no avail. Flash almost got stepped on too, but they pulled him away. So then they go into the final thing where Raven, casts the spell and puts Trigon in there, puts him in the red jewel thing, and that is what that's how it happens, and that's how basically they defeat Trigon, and then it leads to she's got to stay there to ensure that he doesn't bust out again. But ultimately they say, no, you should come back with us, which she does, but Trigon comes with him because she puts the gem right on her forehead, which leads to basically her having it on there. If you remember the 2003 series, she had it that way, but she had already had it like that. This, it's the opposite. So, yeah, that's kind of what happens, and then pretty much in the end, they kind of talk about different stuff, and ultimately Cyborg, I guess, joins the Teen Titans, because then by the end he's like giving pizza to everybody, in the Teen Titans, while he's talking to like Batman and the rest of the Justice League on TV monitor or screen. There was kind of like a pun joke before they got back, where Beast Boy had, like, I think, farted at Cyborg when he changed into one of the animals. So there was kind of that going on too. But yeah, that was kind of where it ended. I did like the whole thing with Raven and the new Robin. I mean, again, this isn't the Dick Robin. This is a different Robin, so I don't really have an issue with it. But it's kind of different. Having them together. But again, it's a different universe, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting, because I felt like that was like the whole ship they were going with was Raven and this Robin, the new Robin, was kind of what they were going for, because it just felt like the way they were all interacting was kind of the way they were going with it. And then that was really the end credits, and right as the end credits begin, they show Tara. Which, again, this is a different universe. Tara, she looks absolutely different in this version. But I think this is because that's kind of she's supposed to look more like her comic book version, than the animated series one from Teen Titans, because in the Teen Titans one, obviously, as we know, she is more of a good girl that turns bad, but then kind of regrets it, and then ends up sacrificing herself for the Teen Titans. As we all know, that's kind of the Tara that we remember in the Teen Titans. Obviously, in the comic books, it's not like that. As we all should know by now, Tara is not that of a good girl like she is in the original that they make her out to being in the 2003 series. I always preferred the 2003 series Tara over the comic book version. I thought it was a much more redeemable character than the one that they give you in the comics. But it seems like that's what they're going for in this, because, again, this universe is more of a comic book version of the characters, not kind of the TV series versions. So if you're kind of looking for those type of characters, you're not going to find them here, unfortunately. They did do their occasional, kind of eye stuff. I didn't think they did enough, I shouldn't say eye stuff, Easter eggs. They didn't really give us that much Easter eggs of like stuff from the original series. I mean, even though it's a different universe, they could have given us a little more of that, kind of referencing those stuff, but they didn't do that here, which kind of sucked. I didn't feel like we had enough of it. Like I said, Dick Grayson, the original Robin. I think he made 2 or 3 appearances. I was not very happy about that, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, it was overall, it was a good movie, a lot of good action going around, but I feel like there was a lot of stuff missing in this movie, to make it over the top, to make it a more over the top movie. Like I said, the title is very misleading, because it really wasn't Justice League versus Teen Titans, I don't think, at all. I think that was misleading. And the only time they actually did fight was when the Justice League was being possessed, which didn't last long because obviously, they were not possessed that long because in the final battle, the Teen Titans basically took Superman out right away for the freeing him, and then Superman basically did the rest after that. So it really wasn't Justice League versus Teen Titans, which I don't feel like you should have a title like that unless it's actually a factual case in the plot, which it really wasn't. But yeah, overall good movie. I don't know if they. Well, yeah, I think they did. I'm not sure though. I'll have to look up what was next after that because this obviously was a sequel. There was obviously a sequel to this film because they showed Terra at the end. Trying to show the events of what's going to happen next. Maybe Slade will be in the next one. I think there is another Teen Titans movie, but that one I think is going to focus on Teen Titans. But comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. Also share, like, comment, subscribe. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. And also, if you want me to see me do more, reviews like this, Justice League and Teen Titans and whatever, let me know. But yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm out. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace!